What's the nature of your emergency?
Welcome back to the Tactical Living Podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Walton, joined by Sergeant Walton. Clint, how are you?
I'm good.
Would you like to hear a voicemail that somebody left me at midnight?
Yeah.
Shaquisha, call me the fuck back, bruh. You've been ditching my calls. You ain't been answering me. You know you're gonna get your ass beat for what you said, Shaquisha. If you ain't Shaquisha, then fucking, I guess, delete this voice message. But if you are Shaquisha, what's up, bitch?
So I felt like calling him back and be like, hey, this is Shaquisha.
See, at first I thought that was a female. But, like, some people, like, wow.
Luckily for them, they called me so many times last night, but it didn't wake me up.
Yeah, I know.
We're not talking about that today, though. I just thought it was really funny and wanted to share. Today, we're going to talk about the power of dressing for the moment and why your appearance actually matters. And the whole reason why this concept is coming up is because I was thinking about Zelensky and how he always looks like such a slob. And yet, in his mind, he thinks that having a designer sweatsuit makes him look elevated in life.
You know, I actually talked with someone recently about this and their whole understanding of it, and their, like, making it okay in their minds is, I guess in the beginning of the war, he said he's not wearing a suit until the war has come to a resolution. But at the same time, like, if you're the leader of a country, like, I don't care if, like, I'm not saying you have to wear a suit all the time, but you need to represent yourself, represent your country in a very formal way. I mean, think about it as law enforcement. Like, if we were to go out saying, hey, until homicides stop in our city, I'm going to wear a sweatsuit. Like,
yeah, I want to push back against whoever had said that to you, because most people don't even realize how Zelensky even become president. If you see all of those videos and you think that they're fake memes where you see Zelensky shaking his junk and he's in leotards and wearing high heels, that's real. So what happened is the Ukraine had this, like, America's Got Talent for comedians, basically. And the whole skit is to try to make them as presidential as possible. Like, if you win, then you become what Hollywood would deem as a celebrity, right? And you would be idolized. And so everybody wants to be that. But for them, their idea of Hollywood is what we would consider politician. So it was basically a joke. And he ran to become their president and he won. But people voted for him as a parody to make him win that contest, is basically how that is. And I'm explaining that to you, and this isn't me making it up. You can go and research that for yourself. And I'm explaining that to you because all the more reason is it's so important that if you got into a position that you should have never gotten into in the first place, that you make sure that you dress the part.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, if you're in a leadership position, you have to represent yourself, your country, to the highest of standards. Like, you can't come in just wearing sweatsuits all the time and expect everyone to respect you just because of XYZ.
Yeah, and you can understand the narcissism in someone's personality when they show up to the room, and it's like if someone lied to you and said that it's a costume party and then you show up in a costume and you're the only one wearing a costume, you know, you would get that oh shit kind of feeling. You should get that same sense when you're showing up with these dignitaries and leaders of the world and you're the only one not dressed to impress.
Yeah, it's a big problem, and you want other, you know, countries to support you, and you want to pull this, you know, everybody wants that war to end. Like, and that's the one thing that I think I want to make clear is but you have to represent yourself. You have to represent your country. I mean, our countries are businesses, and I think that people forget that.
So your appearance sets the tone before you even speak. It doesn't matter if it's a job interview, a courtroom testimony, or just walking into roll call. Your clothing basically sends this immediate and unspoken message about your confidence, your professionalism, your credibility. And when you are not dressing for the moment, then all of that is instantly gone out the window without you even saying a word.
Part of our use of force continuum within law enforcement in general, the first level of force that we represent when we arrive on scene is our uniformed presence. And it's not a physical force, but it's showing this, you are the person in charge. You're the person who is representing the city, the governmental agencies to protect the public.
Not only that, but taking a patrol sergeant into consideration, when you're consistently wearing clean and then squared away uniforms all of the time, you have polished gear, you just look sharp on every single shift. We all know the difference between an officer that shows up and looks like a slob versus one that actually takes care of their presentation in terms of their appearance. You are basically setting this standard for professionalism, and anybody under your command is going to mirror you in terms of leadership.
Yeah, if you're showing up looking like that, you're going to have those people that, that they want to look good and they want to represent the agency, but then you're going to have those ones where like, meh. If this person's able to get away with it, what else can I get away with?
I'm going back to the Zelensky example because I'm thinking about how you said, and I don't know if that's true or not, how he said he wasn't going to, I've never seen that man in a suit ever. So I don't know if that's true or not, if he's decided to not wear a suit until the war is over. However, something else that we need to understand is off-duty encounters matter just as much if you're still representing your place of work or your professional entity in any way. So let's pretend that that's the case. And Zelensky said, okay, I don't want to wear a suit until the war is over. Well, okay, he's not in his country. He's not representing that aspect of things. So we can consider him going to other dignitaries as something that would be like off, even though it's related, right? He's trying to get money from everybody. But you would still need to present yourself in a way that would make people have respect enough for you to even listen to what your begs and pleas are.
Yeah, you have to represent yourself to be able to garner that support for your country and yourself.
I'm thinking about all of the off-duty events that you have done that still have something work-related to deal with work in some aspect, and you still represent yourself in a positive fashion because you're going to attend that event as a representative of the place that you work in some regard.
Yeah, you have to show up and we're not talking about having designer stuff or like you have to dress according to the situation you're going to. And especially if you're going to a different city or a different region, like you have to represent yourself to align with that.
Something really interesting happens too when we dress the part. It affects our mood, our confidence, and then it also can impact our performance. So I'm thinking about the impression, because we all saw the spat, right? I wish that more people would listen to Trump, Vance, and Zelensky's entire interview to see what the threat was that led up to that confrontation. Absolutely, it was a threat in my opinion. And if I picture that and I go back, all I see is a slob slouching down, shoulders down, eyes down. However, I'm wondering if he were to have dressed the part, if that would have had any kind of implication on his performance during something like that.
Well, if you look back, and what made me think of this was right when you were talking about it is you go back to the TV show The Apprentice. And do you think when Donald Trump was having people, go through that reality show and become an apprentice under him, if they would have showed up wearing a sweatsuit, they would have gotten any further than the first episode or the first group of people who were hired? It's highly unlikely.
Yeah, and it doesn't necessarily mean either, because one could argue, well, he's more comfortable in a tracksuit, which I definitely believe that's the reason. He just doesn't give two fucks, right? So I think that's the reason why he dresses the way that he does. And you don't have to sacrifice comfort by looking professional. There are a million different ways that you can look professional. I mean, you did it for so many years working as a detective.
Yeah, you don't have to have this big wallet of being able to fund yourself and look wearing this fancy suit and tie all the time. You can dress professionally and look good. Well, I was actually wondering this during the interview is whoever makes that sweatsuit, how much money are they giving him to almost advertise like this is the brand that he wears?
I actually looked it up because I was curious, like, why is this so important to him? And it was so minuscule that I don't even remember what the story was. There is a story behind whatever that brand is. But, considering the whole story about Zelensky and his tracksuit moments, people are going to form their own opinions based on your appearance instantly. And similar in law enforcement and leadership roles and just in life. I think that what you wear tells the world a little bit of a story about how seriously they should take you.
Yeah, you're the leader of your country, you're the leader of whatever position you hold, especially when it's a position of power, you need to represent that.
Yeah, I hope you've gotten some value out of today's episode. If you have, do us a favor, drop a review, subscribe down below, and as always, know that I'm sending you a long, tight hug from my home to yours.